Ymir Fritz is the most mysterious character in Attack on Titan. We have never seen her say a single word, nonetheless she's one of the few key characters. After King Fritz, Eren was the first person to reach out to her. Afterwards, he was gifted the power to manipulate past, present and future events in his favor. We will try to understand Ymir's character, why she kept obeying the descendants of the king, and what role Eren and especially Mikasa played in her journey to find peace. As a little child, Ymir's village was raided by King Fritz. Ymir and the other villagers became slaves. Their tongues were removed and they had to work until death. Nobody treated them like human beings. Some of the few things which were highlighted about Ymir is that she wanted to be liked by other people, doing nice acts of kindness, and she marveled at the king. Still being very young, maybe 12 to 14, someone in the village freed the pigs. King Fritz searched for the culprit and everyone pointed at Ymir. Later in the story it was revealed that Ymir actually freed the pigs. But in the scene we don't see anybody else being there except for Ymir. Keep this scene in mind, it will become very important. King Fritz convicted her to death by being free. She could run, but she was hunted by his troops. Wounded, she fell into a tree, and there the spine worm attached itself to Ymir, giving her the original Titan powers. With her new gained power, she could have easily killed King Fritz and became the queen herself, but although now having superhuman power, her mind was still trapped being a slave. She still wanted to be liked by other people and she still had a weird admiration for King Fritz. She used her power to the best of her ability in service to King Fritz. He then rewarded her with having his children. Ymir genuinely loved King Fritz, even being jealous of other women who were close to him. But for him, Ymir was just a slave. He only valued her for her power. Nothing else mattered to him. Ymir died protecting King Fritz, and although she loved him and her daughters, there still was no will to live inside her. Therefore, she couldn't regenerate and died on the spot. After her death, she woke up as the ruler of the Coordinate, being able to influence any descendant of her bloodline. There were still rules like inhaling the spinal fluid gas or drinking/getting an injection of the spinal fluid itself, but nonetheless she gained godlike abilities. The problem was that Ymir still saw herself as a slave to King Fritz, therefore she obeyed his will, which was to guarantee the founding power only to his and her descendants. Because of that, she kept being a slave, still acting in favor of the royal bloodline only. The Coordinate is a complicated place. There seems to be no concept of time at all, or at least a quite different one. You can act independently of space and time. Ymir, theoretically, at any given moment could have decided to not be a slave of King Fritz anymore. But for over 2 millennia in regular time, she remained being a slave. Eren and Mikasa are a mirror of Fritz and Ymir, but obviously there are huge differences, especially with Eren and Fritz. Eren genuinely loved Mikasa and vice versa. Mikasa and Eren showed jealousy towards other potential partner, just like Ymir did, but both never openly expressed their love in a romantic relationship. You can say that the brutal world they unfortunately lived in didn't allow it. Eren and Mikasa helped Ymir on her journey to peace. In the previous scene, Ymir saw herself and probably the other slaves too mirrored in the pigs. The same pigs she then freed. Although being a slave until death and even after that, in that scene she expressed her unconscious desire to be freed. If Ymir were the hero of her story, the punishment for freeing the pigs would turn into a blessing. And it actually did. Ymir gained immense power, which could have easily destroyed King Fritz and his army, and every other king and their army holding slaves. During that time, Ymir could have easily freed any slave in the world, but unfortunately, she still saw herself as a slave to King Fritz, still wanting to work in his benefit. Her love for King Fritz turned a potential blessing into an endless curse. What Ymir was for the pigs, Eren was for Ymir. Eren acknowledged Ymir as a human being. He didn't see her as a slave, a holy Eldian figure, or the tormentor of the world, which were all consequences of a still kept slave mentality. Eren told her that she was a human, and that she could be free. Zeke and every previous royal blood user of the Coordinate only used her as a tool, just like King Fritz did. Eren noticed the misconception because for him freedom was priority number one, and Ymir clearly wasn't free. After that encounter with Eren, Ymir finally became free. Eren didn't forcefully take his place next to Ymir. She allowed him to join her as the ruler of the coordinate. Now Eren was able to use godlike abilities, acting through space and time, but that's for another video. Ymir now was freed from being a slave, but her twisted love for King Fritz still remained. Eren didn't provide an answer for the possibly biggest paradox in Ymir's life, but there still is Mikasa. Ymir's love and obsession over King Fritz is mirrored in Mikasa's relationship to Eren. But in contrast to King Fritz, Mikasa had a lot of plausible reasons to like Eren. Eren's importance for Mikasa is greater than his importance for Ymir. Because of Eren, Mikasa was able to awaken her Ackerman abilities, and he also was the main reason why Mikasa was able to cope with the traumatic events surrounding the death of her parents. Mikasa definitely had a core-rooted love for Eren, but there also was obsession. Eren became her object of projection for her love, hope, and overall reason to live. The moment Eren is in serious trouble, it's like a power-off button on Mikasa. She reacts impulsive, just trying to save him, no matter what it costs. The moment Mikasa thought that Eren was dead, she lost her desire to live. And the moment she realized that Eren was still alive, we got the strongest emotional reaction of an awakened Ackerman. Therefore, it was a very hard decision for Mikasa to act against Eren and, in the worst case, to potentially kill him. In the end, she decided to do the right thing. Mikasa, in her story, learned that being consequent with values exceeds love. The duty to protect as many people as possible has to be given a higher priority than loving and protecting the genocidal psychopath, no matter how much he gave you. Ymir learned from Mikasa that you can decide against love, no matter how important the person once was or still is. Eren was Mikasa's literal reason to live, as I already listed, but some things are greater than love. In comparison to Ymir's love for Fritz, Mikasa's love is a million times more plausible. It also wasn't one-sided as it was with Ymir and Fritz, and yet Mikasa still did what Ymir couldn't. With Mikasa's final act, a new path opened up in Ymir's imagination. The path of her valuing the lives of her children and probably also her own life over her love to Fritz. Perhaps then everything would have turned out better. As a conclusion for the end, I think Eren and Mikasa are the two sides of Ymir. Eren is Ymir's will to freedom and Mikasa is Ymir's unconditional love for Fritz. The whole tragedy started with Ymir being unable to reconcile both sides, and it ended with Eren and Mikasa giving Ymir the right perspective so she can finally rest. It might be that Ymir in the coordinate purposefully created Eren and Mikasa to see how things would go. Eren also suspected that Ymir let him into the coordinate to free her, but I'm not sure about that. It could be, but it's very difficult to determine which particular event was influenced by either Eren or Ymir. If Eren didn't particularly say that he influenced an event, both can be the case. Thank you for watching the video. It was my first video about Attack on Titan and there will definitely be more coming soon. And yeah, check out my Shadow series. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and write your opinion in the comments. And hopefully see you soon.